It's Soda Honglu. Yeah, that's right, no intro. You read the title and probably thought I would be going insane ranting about Lifetime Stu Sinclair again, didn't you? Well, sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not here to lie. Soda Honglu is the worst ego in the game, by far, and I am making this video as a PSA of sorts, to warn you against the absolute travesty that is this ego's existence. So buckle up, because this video is going to be an all-gas, no-brakes, public execution of this ego, and I will enjoy every second of it. Soda Honglu is a 10th level ego released for the C event for 4.5's release, and wow, Project Moon must have not liked this event very much considering the abomination they unleashed upon the world during it. To get an idea of why I'm treating this like an unwanted bastard child during the Middle Ages, let's look at Soda Honglu's stats for its Awakening version. At a first glance, there's nothing too horrendous here, right? A 20 plus 7 roll for a 27 total is fine, and 3 attack weight is actually pretty alright. Well, the problems don't lie there. They are literally everywhere else, though. Let's start by looking at this funny little number here. The educated among you will know that this sword indicates offense level, and you might be thinking that this is surely his offense level at level 35, as in it is a +0 offense level, but no. This is Soda Honglu's offense level at level 40, meaning that Soda Honglu stands alone in having a -5 to his offense level. Quite a few ego actually have a -3 offense level, and some ego, albeit very few of them, have -4 offense level, but the only thing in the entire game to get the honor of being the prince of dog shit offense level is Soda Honglu. It feels almost self-aware of them to give him something so unabashedly terrible. But okay, I'm overreacting a little bit. That's not the worst thing ever. Sure, it means less damage and less clashing, but it's an ego still. Even an effective 25 clashing roll will win most times, and while, yeah, it can win clashes, that's still not a super notable upside. Almost any ego in the game can win a clash, and it's not like a 27 is particularly notable, so most times egos are used for their effects/damage, plus that free clash win. So then, what are Soda Honglu's effects? Well, literal garbage. Soda Honglu has 3 effects, and somehow each one gets increasingly more depressing, which is incredibly impressive given how bad they are. Going down the line, we'll start with this one. After a head's attack ends with this ego, heal 2 allies with the least HP percentage by 15. Now, while that may look very similar to a lot of other healing ego out there, it's missing something very important that every other healing ego has. A percentage sign. Soda Honglu's healing is flat HP. Soda Honglu, at Threadspin 4, will only ever heal 30 HP between 2 allies on heads hit. Now, let me put this into perspective for you, using Lifetime Stu Sinclair. Look, I hate this ego. There is no secret to that at all. But while everything about it sucks, its healing output can end up being respectable. At maximum potential, using the highest max HP Sinclair, Mariachi, in order to buff up the healing output from the heads hit effect, it will heal 24 HP to each ally it hits on heads. Since we don't have 8 Sinner battles yet, we can't use all of these 7 attack weight to hit allies, so let's multiply that 24 by 6 for every one of our allies we can hit in a 7 Sinner battle. And we end up with 144 healing total. Now, does this mean that Lifetime Stu Sinclair is the potential man of ego? I am inside your walls, watching your every move. Don't ever joke about that ever again. Lifetime Stu still fucking sucks, but Soda's maximum potential is 30 HP, meaning that Lifetime Stu Sinclair is almost 5 times better than it when it comes to healing, and has a 5% better chance to hit heads because it costs 5 less SP. What's worse is that every time levels increase, which is every 4 months or so, almost every single healing source in the game scales likewise. But not Soda Honglu, no. In fact, that 15 HP healing going to 2 allies, yeah, it's likely those allies gained more than that amount of HP simply in the jump of a 5-level gap. Perhaps even more insulting is comparing it to something like Chef Ryoshu, who heals 15 HP to the lowest HP ally upon killing an enemy, and when an ID passive is half as good as the main draw of an ego, that's really bad. But okay, fine. Let's say that you don't care that this healing source is literally almost worse than nothing. What else does Soda Honglu have? Well, if you get unlucky and hit Tails, you will heal 15 SP to the 2 allies with the lowest SP. Most times, this means that Honglu will be getting a 15 sanity refund, and then one other ally gets 15 SP. This effect is bad. Like, worse than Representation Emitter in every way bad. Which is really embarrassing, because Representation Emitter is an ego everyone has for free. I don't think it's quite as insultingly terrible as the HP healing is, since SP is always going to exist in flat numbers, but is 30 SP worth 7 resources? God no, especially when it's inconsistent. Remember, if you want healing, you gotta hit heads, and if you want SP healing, you gotta hit tails, but if you want both, oh boy, you want both? Well, that's greedy of you! If you want both, let's look at the last effect Soda Honglu has. When a critical attack ends, heal the lowest HP ally for 8 HP, and the lowest SP ally for 8 SP. Well, that's a nice little bonus, huh? 38 healing and 8 SP on a heads hit crit. Still bad, of course, but at least it's something. Now, remind me, which Honglu ID can crit? Oh, that's right. None of them. It's pretty common knowledge that Season 3, Bon Voyage, was a Poise renaissance. We didn't get Poise IDs for so long, and then every sinner got one. Well, every sinner, except for one. Honglu somehow avoided getting a Poise ID, even though at this point in time, every sinner has at least one, and most have 2. What's even funnier is that on-crit conditionals for Ego are incredibly rare. Soda Honglu is one of 3 Ego in the game that want to crit for additional effects, and he just can't. It really feels like Project Moon was having an absolute giggle when they decided to not give Honglu a Poise ID while having one of the few critical Ego in the game, but the most tragic part is that even if he were to crit with this Ego, even if he were to always crit with this Ego, what's the end result? Still trash. And somehow, it gets worse. Let's look at the sin affinities this Ego costs. 3 Gluttony, 2 Gloom, and 2 Envy. I don't have an issue with the 3 Gluttony, nor the Envy, I guess, but the Gloom is a problem. On screen now are what I consider some of the best Ego in the entire game. Faust Fluid Sac, Rhyme Shank, Sunshower Yisang, Binds Heathcliff, help throw in Blind Obsession and Ebony Stem 2 for being solid damage dealers, and I'll even mention AEDD Heathcliff and Pursuance Merceau. Can you guess what the one through line is for all of these Egos' sin affinities? Gloom. Gloom is, in my opinion, undeniably the best sin affinity right now, since so many good Ego use it. A lot of healing Ego use it. Spending even 2 of it to use Soda Honglu is just far too steep of a cost. Again, other Ego people would consider to be bad or contenders for the worst don't cost Gloom, which is a pretty big upside when it is so hotly contested for. I could also talk about how his passive is laughably bad, but it's not entirely useless, so I guess I will leave that alone since I'm already nauseous enough having to talk about this Ego for 9 minutes. But we aren't quite done yet. This is the last thing though, I promise. So far, I have only talked about Soda Honglu's Awakening version, but every non-base Ego in the game has a Corrosion version. And really, this is where Soda Honglu's one redeeming factor is. And that one redeeming factor is that I can show it on screen and point out that it can roll a 10 on heads hit, and its effects are literally nothing and quickly get it off the screen before I puke. And we don't need to talk about it anymore, meaning we can both quickly move on with our fucking lives. So, what's my point? Besides that Soda Hong Lu is absolutely terrible and the worst ego ever conceived of. No, actually, that kind of just is my point. I think Soda Hong Lu is an absolutely trash ego that serves almost zero purpose, but even then, and I hate to be positive and optimistic, it can be used, begrudgingly. It still does heal you, even if it is for an insulting amount, and my issue with it is that it is so far behind the competition for seemingly no reason. This is why I'm glad something like an Envy Resonance team exists, to give irredeemable pieces of garbage like this ego an actual use case. For every other trash ego that exists that you can think of, I can come up with something that makes them good, a certain scenario or a certain ID that enables them. But Soda Hong Lu? I can really only say that being Envy is useful on a niche Resonance team, and other than that, it should be exterminated. If you want damage, use any other 3 attack weight ego. If you want healing, you really came to the wrong place, and if you want to use it because the animation is funny, just go watch a YouTube video with the animation, right-click on it, and press loop. With that, thank you for watching. But only if you ended up fully agreeing with me by the end of the video, and now hate this ego and how awful it is an equal amount to me. If you still think Soda is a good ego by the end of this video, I hope God is more forgiving to you than I would be. This was supposed to be a 5-minute video, but I, went off the deep end a little bit, but I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. As always, this video ends now.